Thank you, Namala. And I'm just sitting here thinking this is the best birthday party I've been to. I think it's just what an amazing event, and it's just an honor to be here. So thank you for the invitation. And also, it was you that suggested the title, "The Value of Kindness," for this brief talk. And when you suggested it, immediately the double meaning jumped out for me. You know, the value of kindness. So yes, kindness is a value. And I won't be controversial, but it's probably one of the most important values, if not the most important. And today I found a quote by Aristotle, who described kindness as helpfulness towards someone in need, not in return for anything, nor for the advantage of the helper himself, but for that of the person helped, which I hadn't seen before and I think is lovely. Now, Nirmala, you talk about kindness to self, to others, and to the planet. But today I'm just going to focus on one of those, and that's kindness to others. And like you mentioned, I had a career in the hospitality sector. So that's what I'm going to draw on as I explore this over the next few minutes. Because in the hospitality environment, it occurred to me, and actually Jenny is from a hospitality background as well, so she'll relate to this. But it occurred to me that there are many different types of kind acts that take place in good hospitality environments. And over the last couple of days, I've just developed this concept of a kindness matrix. So if you'd like to either use your imagination, or if you want to use a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper on a hand, draw an axis where the bottom axis, that's the horizontal one, and write generic on the left-hand side of that line and individual on the right-hand side of that line. And then where you've got the vertical axis, write spontaneous at the top and planned at the bottom. So you've got your two axes, your four words, and you can make 4 quadrants now. Now, to make this more real, I'm going to give you an example of each quadrant. So in the generic planned box, we used to, when guests were checking out, we used to present them with a sachet of poppy seeds, which had been taken from the hotel gardens. And on the sachet was a message from Tom, the head gardener, asking guests to remember their stay with us at the hotel. So this is an example where everybody received this on departure and it was planned. Now let's move to the generic spontaneous box. So here, our food and beverage servers in the restaurants, we briefed them to listen out, to pick up if, for instance, it was somebody's birthday or other celebration, for instance, and encourage them to make a gesture. So it could be a small cake with a candle to celebrate somebody's birthday. So here we were giving the power to those frontline people that Nirmala had mentioned to spontaneously recognize our guests and our diners. And that was done generically. Now let's move on to individual and planned. Now, Ritz-Carlton is one of my favorite hotel groups. And when you stay there and you have a fruit basket in your room, they're actually trained, the housekeeping team is trained to record which fruit you eat more of, so that the next time you stay in a Ritz-Carlton hotel, and this could be anywhere else in the world, your fruit basket will be along the lines of the fruit that you enjoy most. So that's an example where it's individually based, but really well planned. And then finally, individual spontaneous. And this is a story that I just love. It was from a bank environment where I helped to put a hotel-style service delivery in place. And one day we were expecting a very important guest for a meeting with the bankers, and we had his visitor pass already printed, and the reception knew his name, and we always liked to greet a person without them having to greet themselves first whenever we could. So she was ready to do that. But what we hadn't accounted for was that this VIP guy had brought his dog with him. Now, as he approached the reception desk, the receptionist greeted him and presented his visitor pass, but then said, "And if you could lift up your dog in front of the camera, please. And what's his name?" And she produced a name badge for the dog. And this VIP went into the meeting room with the bank, as we found out later, and announced that that was the best welcome he had had anywhere in the world, ever. And the meeting was a great success. Now, those 4 different types of kindness are all at play. But that last one, I just love it because, you know, that wasn't in a training manual. That wasn't an operating standard. That was one human being showing kindness to another. Well, in this case, a canine, actually, rather than a human being, or maybe both. And so this is how kindness, I think, is represented very, very well in the hospitality sector. And it made me wonder, I wonder what would happen if we had some form of kindness assessment at recruitment stage in not just hospitality businesses, but businesses generally. You know, what would the world look like if we attach more importance to how kind people were in their place of work? And that leads to beyond that. So what about society generally? If we were to, perhaps you could think about this, you know, use that matrix as a guide. How could that guide you to help you be more kind in a very practical way? So this matrix really highlights to me the power of kindness that Jenny's touched on, and she's also touched on the science of it. So if I'll bring this to a close now, kindness can be spontaneous and planned. It can be individual and generic. Jenny mentioned this specifically. Kindness can be actioned easily at just about any time with very little effort or resources. Those people in the examples that I gave, especially the last one, the banker, the impact that these actions have on people can be enormous. And yet sometimes we question whether we're going to have a positive impact. Why hesitate when you can see the reaction that a small gesture can receive? Then kindness ripples. Recipients of kindness are encouraged to pass it forward. And it has no limitations. It's not like our bank account. You know, we can give as much kindness as we like. It can be actioned over and over again. And it's the only limiting factor is you and your choices. So the science of kindness is emerging, as Jenny mentioned, and we are understanding how powerful this thing is. It creates value again and again and again and again. Kindness is powerful stuff. Thank you.